So I'm burning my oils, I've lit my incense. I always, when I have my first coffee of the morning, I always burn incense and light oil at my altar, in order to, you know, cleanse and ritual and send prayers out and blessings to certain people. And it's just part of what I am as an Indigenous reverend. So I'm having my first coffee of the day, thinking about everything, and my lips quivering a little. So you'll have to forgive me because I'm a little bit startled at the fact that the Lord might be telling me He needs me in America when I have my heart set on Switzerland. But it doesn't mean I can't have. I mean, the thing is, I want to have schools in multiple countries anyway. So it doesn't mean I can't go to Switzerland. But for some reason, I'm getting this feeling like He's trying to redirect me to America for now. Because remember, I said that when this is all over, the world is going to need Indigenous people to show them how to heal. And if I'm White Buffalo Calf Woman, I'm supposed to be in America. And if the Lord is parting the Red Sea for me to get to America, meaning if the Lord is going to be getting rid of the world's enemies, like Donald Trump and Keir Starmer and von der Leyen and all that, if He's clearing the path, because while we have the Antichrist movement in Europe and Great Britain and the Americas, Christ will never be allowed to come down because God promised His Son next time round it won't be so hard. When you come back the second time, you're coming back to a better world that isn't going to judge you for being the Messiah. And so He sends people like me to prepare the world for the second coming and to clear the path for the second coming. Obviously, His parents have been chosen. The location, I don't know. That's all I know is that I'm one of the ones that has been sent to get rid of the Antichrist movement. All the people who are anti-Christian, like Keir Starmer and von der Leyen and all these countries that are bombing Christian churches and all of that. And I think it's just beautifully poignant that it's a Muslim nation, a nation of Islam, who are defending Christian rights. It is because of Iran that the Christian world will be getting the second coming. And I'm very proud to be Iranian, of Iranian descent. It makes me very proud because it's like so that the Christians of the world will be able to enjoy their Saviour, their Messiah, because of people like us and the sacrifices we've made and the losses we've taken. And, you know, I'm kind of a little bit shocked that I might be getting redirected to America, but like I said, I serve the Lord. And it's Alpha to Omega. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. The beginning of the end was when I met Martin and originally built the Art of Creation idea and Spellbound and wrote Andre's Dragon and all that for him to be with him, because we were supposed to be building this school together in inner city New York. Because he left me for a pedophile and a child groomer, and then they all joined in to protect the relationships and defend pedophiles and child groomers, which led me to Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Hillary Clinton and all of that from 2016 to now, with all the military personnel and law enforcement and Secret Service that were coming to me to help them deal with paranormal activity, poltergeist activity. They thought they were possessed, they thought they were cursed, they were suffering from PTSD and they didn't realise it. And I helped them. Alpha to Omega, the beginning is the end. So when I met Martin in 2013 and got into a relationship with him after my marriage ended, which was in 2016, 14th of April, is when he asked me to be his girl. 2016, that was the beginning of the end. He was the start point. He was my coyote. He came into my life to help me build everything, to tear it down, to build it, to tear it down, to build it, to tear it down, until I got it pitch perfect. He was never supposed to be with me. He was never supposed to go where I was going. He's a monster. He's too low vibrational. Any man that can leave the child of God to sleep with children, to sleep with women who hurt children and sell their children to pedophiles. My son is still, even though, he's 16 in June. He was 7 when Rocio tried to kiss him, and he's still traumatised by it. I have the messages. Which is why I said when this is over, my boys will be getting a cut of the money, because it's compensation for the pain and suffering that they were put through at the hands of people who were part of the sex cult. Being a pedophile who sleeps with all the men in your life isn't a crown of glory. It's a crown of hoary. I am practically virginal. I'm pure. She's a whore. And the thing is, she sleeps with both men and women, so Lord knows where that's been. But anyway, that's not what this is about. What I'm saying is, Alpha to Omega, they were brought into my life to make me who I am today, so that I could build everything that I had to build. And I'm kind of scared that God's saying, you need to go to America because America needs you. And it doesn't mean to say that you can't have a school in Switzerland or go and live in Switzerland eventually. I'm sad because I don't want to go to America because it's not safe for me. But if he's saying, but I'm going to make it safe for you, I'm removing the problem, you're going to be safe, like America's going to have your back, I promise, I promise, 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 then Alpha to Omega, I was originally supposed to be going to America. It's all the boys and I talked about to social services and all that when I was locked up. They told me to give up on my dream of saving children. They literally said that. We think you should give up on your dream of trying to save children because you're not well. I thought, F you, you bastard. I'll show you. I'll show you. I said to them, I'm going to play the game until I get out of here, and when I get justice, I said, I'm shutting this place down. Because none of those people that work there, other than a handful of nurses and a couple of the girls that worked at reception, Sam and Jodie, deserve to be there. That place, they're abusers. They abuse vulnerable people who 90% of them don't even deserve to be in there. But it helps feed their ego, and they're torturing innocent people to feed their ego, and they're misdiagnosing people. and they're outright allowing people to get killed. Patients got killed there, patients died there, nurses died there. A nurse was murdered in the very ward that I was put in. A man was stabbed in the cafeteria where we were eating in. They don't know what the hell they're doing. That place needs to be shut down. They hook people up to drips and feed them medication to make them sleep 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if they don't want to deal with them. That's torture. That's cruel and unusual punishment. They need to be charged with crimes, criminal behaviour, and I had to see it in order to understand it, in order to blow the whistle. And my lawsuit against them, when I win it, and I will win it, is going to highlight just how dangerous the NHS and the mental health system in the United Kingdom are. And with any luck, I'll get to save a lot of people. To be able to just lock someone up based on their indigeny is disgraceful. Had my rights stripped. They took my phone, they took my access to reach family, they played all sorts of games with my phone and all of that. It's all documented. Absolutely criminal. A lot of they're like Nurse Ratched. A lot of them were in there to take their unhappy lives and their bitter, twisted attitudes out on innocent, vulnerable people. There were a couple of them in there who loved tormenting some of the girls that were in there. But all it did was help me perfect what it is that I've created with my AED techniques, my aversion, eversion, diversion techniques, and how to help children deal with trauma by focusing their mind on something creative. It helped me perfect biorhythmic engineering because I had to figure out a way to deal with the pain of being tortured because they took my phone away from me. And now I've built a whole empire out of shit. I grew roses out of the shit that was thrown at me while I was locked up. So I know how to heal people from trauma. I am going to bring salvation to people who are traumatised from the PTSD of leadership like Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. I'm watching people on X talking about how are we going to recover from this? Is Great Britain ever going to recover? Are we as Americans ever going to be able to recover from the Trump regime? And I've been saying to them, I promise you are. This is what I see coming. It's it's the dream I had, where I'm walking through the meadow in that white lace dress with golden hour. I call it my Let the Sunshine dream. When I climbed to the top of the hill, the voice said, the man and woman voice, was probably my parents. You got one more hill to climb, but we're going to make it easy for you. And the mountain moved like an escalator. And I was shouting it out to the roof, at the top of the mountain, saying to the people, do you have nothing to fear? I was talking about Omicron, which is the Draco system. I figured it out. I thought it was to do with COVID. It could be, they keep threatening to try and pull off another fake scamdemic, but I figured out that the Draco system, the Omicron is in the Draco system. I was talking about Draco TC, my show. Maybe God's saying, well, remember I was saying, how am I going to find an African American actor in Switzerland? Maybe God's saying, well, you're not. You're going to find him in America. And then the dream I had, the Trump-Biden alligator dream, when the men in blue suits were looking up at the screen praying to God, how are we going to fix this? Because they knew the president was going to try and start World War III and take the war in a direction that had never been fought before, i.e. nuclear, which is exactly what Biden started that Trump finished. And the dream ended with me kicking a snake in the face and it splatting against the wall, and me being chased by African American men and Hispanic men who were trying to kiss me. They all wanted to be my mans. And then Night of the Black Sun, when Thomas and I wrote that, we wrote that with Montana or South Dakota in mind. Because we were going to move to Montana or South Dakota because there's a ghost town for sale in South Dakota that I had my eye on. There was also a place in Maine that I had my eye on, but I need to go to where there's bears and wolves and that because of my conservation program. Because the wolves and the bears, they've been calling me since I was a kid. So I have to live at the north of America. And the only two places that I sort of really would want to go is South Dakota or Montana, which is why I reached out to that Kristi Noem, because she was the governor of South Dakota at the time. There's a whole pile of ghost towns for sale in America, but there was one in South Dakota that I had my eye on that would have been perfect. And when we wrote Night of the Black Sun, which was originally Vantablack, that was set in South Dakota, my Alpha to Omega dream that I had it on the 19th of October 2019 when I fell out of the sky like a shooting star and landed at the foot of Head of the Eagle in that buffalo. I said then it looked like somewhere like Montana or South Dakota. My teacher said I'd end up with someone who was native to the Americas. So it's almost like God saying, do you remember when you wanted to go to America? It's like when Trump and Musk took over America, I thought, well, screw that, now I'm going to have to go to Canada. And then Carney got in, and I was like, well, I can't go there because he'd kill all the kids that came to my school through his MAID program. They'd stub their toe and he'd offer them euthanasia. So I can't go to Canada. I was originally going to build my safe houses in Thunder Bay, and that's what we wrote in Night of the Black Sun, formerly Vantablack, where the kids had to go from the camp in South Dakota to Canada to get to the safe house in Thunder Bay, which is in Ontario. But I can't do that now because Carney would literally offer them the death penalty, because all the kids coming to me, a lot of them are going to be teenagers suffering from depression, and you know they'll be put on medication, would have been put on medication and therapy for things that's nothing more than parents in a society and a school that doesn't want to deal with them because they don't fit in. They only want to deal with the kids that follow the rules and comply. But high funks, we don't, our brains don't work that way. We weren't born to blend in, we were born to stand out. And they don't want to deal with people who stand out because they're too much trouble to handle. Takes up too many extra resources and stuff. And these poor kids have it hammered into them from a young age that they're weird and they're different and they don't fit in and they don't belong, and so they grow up feeling like outcasts and they don't realise that they are the exalted ones. They stand out because God is saying, look at them, look at them, look how special they are. Do you see how talented they are? Do you see how smart they are? Do you see how creative they are? But because everybody else is of the sheeple mind, meh, the indoctrinated, meh, they don't see it. I gave you a shepherd. Look, sheep, look at your shepherd. Meh. So I'm like, come on, shepherds. Come with me and I'll show you how to lead the way. Teach them to be leaders. And so all I'm saying is, Lord, if you're saying, look, hey, if I get rid of Trump and Musk and all the snakes, if I clear the path for you, if I part the Red Sea for you, would you consider going back to America? Because once I get rid of them, they're going to need people like you to be the messages of hope and salvation and faith. Will you do it? I can't say no, but if I am doing it, what I'm saying is, then I want to, if you're going to send me back there, Omega, Alpha to Omega, the beginning is, the end is the beginning. So it's started with Martin and all that, ends with the end of Trump and his administration and Musk and his reign of terror and all of that, and von der Leyen and Starmer. If the end is the beginning and the beginning is, if the beginning is the end and the end is the beginning, like this is me coming to the end of this chapter, and now my parents are walking me through that portal gate to a new life in America, because all of that stuff's coming to an end, then I want to live somewhere like South Dakota or Montana. And then I can, my friend will be in Colorado. I'd have to build everything from scratch. So the place that I had my eye on in Switzerland, that was 90% already offering everything for me. I'd have to build everything from scratch. But the blueprints for America are already there. I feel like I was a compass going round and round and round and round trying to find, where do I go? Is it Canada, Russia, Switzerland, Hungary, back to New Zealand? Like, where the hell am I going? Round and round and round and round. Having dreams round and round and round and round. But it's almost like it was to steady me so that I could focus on something long enough to steady me and create the next step, and then focus on the next place and steady me and create the next step, so that I could build up on, which was the dream I had this morning of me going back up the stairs and avoiding the snakes, hiding under the water. It's like I had to take the paths I had to take long enough for me to be steadied to build up the dreams and the movies and the science and the this and the that, so that when God was ready to part the Red Sea, so to speak, remove all the dangers from the world who are a threat to the second coming of Christ, who I call the Antichrist movement, your von der Leyens and Trumps and Starmers and all of that, I'd be ready to go. I already know where I want to live. I already know where I want to build. I already know, I already know, because it's the original blueprint. However, I don't know if that's necessarily what God is saying, but I guess I'm about to find out, because if Trump and his administration and Elon Musk and that get taken down, then Martin and Rocio and all of that have been taken down with them, because they were all in what happened to me together, then he would be parting the Red Sea for me. 95% of my threat comes from America. Once I leave Great Britain, I never ever have to come back. But for the sake of Great Britain, Starmer's getting removed as well because there's the Antichrist movement. People like Keir Starmer and von der Leyen are never ever going to allow the second coming of Christ, should he be born in the United Kingdom or Europe or anywhere like that, because they will ensure that the world turns against him. And the Lord promised the next time round it's a better place for the new Messiah to live in. And that's not the world we're in right now. But from the looks of it, we're on the brink of everything being torn down, even though they're posting things to try and have that grip of fear over people. I know differently. I see the tears starting to come down. I see the rips in the fabric of the timeline being sewn back up, and the walls starting to crumble down on the EU and Keir Starmer and Donald Trump, and So all I'm saying is, Lord, if you want me to go to America, I can't deny the assignment. If that's my mission, that's my mission. I will do as I'm told. I know that I can still have my school in Switzerland. I can still. This would make it easier for me to have schools in other countries if the Antichrist movement are removed. If you're tearing the barriers down, so be it. As long as I'm safe, that's all I care about. Because to go to America right now, I would not be safe. I have threats in Wisconsin. I have threats in America, in New York, in North Carolina, possibly Massachusetts. There's too many places I'm not safe in America right now. And these are all people who are hell-bent on making sure that children aren't saved, because these are people who hurt children, who want children to suffer. So if you're saying that you're getting ready to tear it all down and create a safer America for me to be able to come in and show them how to heal and renew their faith and give them hope again, like in my Let the Sunshine dream, then I accept the mission. I can't say no. And I wouldn't want to, because I live to serve. But I did have my heart set on Switzerland. But I originally had my heart set on America too, so I put my faith in you, Heavenly Father. I put my faith in my parents. I trust all three of you completely. You're just going to have to start showing me the signs and then show me the money. I have to live north. And yeah, the plane's already there. I don't need to figure anything out. I don't need to check out places and that, because it's already there. Unlike Switzerland, where I was like, oh, am I going to be able to speak the language, and I'm not going to know anyone, but I'm prepared to do it anyway, blah, blah, blah. But with America, it's already there, and I have friends in Colorado, and so Alpha to Omega. It just reminds me of that dream I had in October, just when I was being pulled out of all of that shit with my husband. I had that dream just as I was being pulled out of their lives. I fell out of black, complete darkness into the light, and I fell through golden stars that were sticking to me like glitter. And I landed at the foot of a man that I called Head of the Eagle that I thought was my husband, Martin. But Martin was the darkness I was being removed from. Martin and Chris and all of that. They were all who I was being removed from. Keir Starmer and Elon Musk and Trump and all of them. The cult of Epsteiners was who I was being removed from. And I had to fly through the cosmos like a shooting star to land at the foot of Head of the Eagle. He was standing next to a buffalo, and I said it looked like somewhere like Montana. And then we walked through, he took my hand, and we walked through like the barren lands, and then like a place that was kind of like Arizona like, and then we got to a river, and my sons and children from all around the world were waiting on the other side, and my son was holding a baby. And we were like, F it. We literally said the F word, F it, and held hands and ran across the water. And when we got to the other side, the children wrapped their arms around my man. My son handed him the baby, and the kids wrapped were hugging the man, and he was so happy, he was all emotional, and I said, the children saved my husband, and then I burst into white light and shot off again. And at the time I thought it was Martin, because I was I'd just started planting all these seeds for the school and written Andre's Dragon and the Porcelain Rabbit and all of that. But it was actually Martin that I was being removed from. Martin and Rocio and Rhea and Michelle and all of them. I was being removed from all of them. Trump, Epstein, the whole thing. I'm being pulled away from it all. That part of my life is coming to an end. I'm not going to have to focus on any of that anymore. I can let it all go. Which my parents walking me to the portal gate. I'm going through a death and rebirth. And when I get to the other side, I think I'm being reborn in America. And the thing is, I know it sounds really weird, but it was classical music that helped me focus. Listening to classical music, which is so Quantum Menace. Listen, because Ben owns a music shop that sells musical instruments and sheet music and all of that. And it was him realizing that music was literally vanishing in front of his eyes. Sheet music and all that were vanishing in front of his eyes, that he started realizing that music was vanishing from history. People like Mozart and that, the world was forgetting who they were, like they never existed. And he realized that someone was erasing literature and music and the arts and that from history to rewrite it with glitches in order to control the masses. That's what the Quantum Menace is about. He owns a music shop. He also owns an art gallery. It's actually his art gallery. See Pearl, from The Art of Creation and Loose Lips, Pearl. My girl Pearl, my girl Pearl. No way, Jose. The one who took the etiquette classes and has her barbecuettes and all that and does her show with Dober Drexel, where, it's not gossip if it's news. That Pearl, her husband is a bit of a wheeler dealer. He dabbles in antiques and art. He's just below the law that he can get away with doing certain things through his wheeling and dealing through antiques and art. But he's just above the law that if there were any police raids, he wouldn't get into trouble. They wouldn't notice. I based him on, Michael from Grand Theft Auto. I love his character. Grand Theft Auto 4 is it? That's one of my favourite. Well, Grand Theft Auto 3 and 4 I just absolutely love those games, love them. When I saw Grand Theft Auto 3, it blew my mind wide open. And our Quantum Menace video game is a bit ish, but not completely. Ish, but not completely. But yeah, Pearl's husband, who I'd called John at the time, I did change his name, I think, to Patrick, because my dad was a bit like that when he married my mum, a little bit below the law, a little bit above the law. He was best friends with Mr. Asia. He had Mr. Asia out at his house. My mum and dad did. So, if you know who Mr. Asia is. Anyway, yeah, my dad was a bit below the law, a bit above the law until he joined the army. And then he went completely, straight. But yeah, I think I renamed him Patrick, Pearl and Patrick. He's based on Michael from Grand Theft Auto 4, because everything inspires me, you see. Well, he has wheelings and dealings through the art gallery that Ben, the Quantum Menace, owns. He's always at the auctions and brings stuff in to be sold and all of that, but he also deals with antiques and that as well. So, not quite. Think of like Michael from Grand Theft Auto 4 with the craze, but an exceptionally, like, he knows everything there is to know about art, painters and antiques and antique jewellery and that sort of thing. That's his area of expertise. He's very, 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 very smart. But he helps Ben read codes through the paintings that like Van Gogh and all of that do, Turner and Lautrec and all that, all artists and writers and musicians leave codes they don't know they're leaving and what it is they create. And the Quantum Menace, Ben, he's able to read those codes, and when he reads them, they pull him through, and he time slips and time travels, time jumps through these codes. And Patrick, Pearl's husband, helps him find these codes because it's part of my honeycomb system. Everything I write is all connected in some way, shape, or form. So, and I'm going to have an art gallery in real life, and I'm going to have a music store in real life, but Ben actually sells like pianos and saxophones and drum kits and all of that. So I guess I help people decipher codes. I do help people decipher codes. Anyway, so yeah, that's the Quantum Menace. That's it's all connected. I know I've gone off on a tangent somewhere, but I'm in shock that God's saying to me, "Have you thought about America? Have you thought about going back to America?" And my parents are saying, "Go on, do it." I never knew. I never saw it coming that classical music would end up putting me on the right path, putting me back to the beginning. I'm so embarrassed I never embraced classical music before until now. And it's changed my life completely. So I'm seeing it now. That place in South Dakota I had my eye on, having everyone sitting outside in the summertime with their picnic baskets, just listening to classical music that the kids are playing on stage free concerts. I want everybody to embrace the beauty of classical music. And I mean, who the heckin' ever thought in a million years that I myself would be composing classical music? But I am. I just need to find a composer to put it all into music form. But I've been composing classical music for the Amber Rose and all of that. I never saw that one coming, and now I want children to know it, which is why I came up with Mr. Cello. Inspired by Yodok, because everyone inspires me, and that's the beautiful thing about turning shit into manure to grow roses. You take the bad and you can turn it into something good and fruitful and bountiful just by changing your perspective, removing the toxic, removing the bad from it, and leaving only the good that came from it. Okay, it was shit that we got hacked and all of that sort of stuff, and things didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but out of it came a love of classical music. He gave me he extended my love of classical music from where Chris started, Alpha to Omega, and as a result I get to compose my own music for the Amber Rose. So out of shit, literally I grew a rose, the Amber Rose, Alpha to Omega. So with my radio shows and when I can talk to people and that, I'll walk around my foundation, and if anyone sees me and they want to have a chat, can I sit down and have a talk to you? If they see me out and about, I'll wear my little thing so they know it's me, although they're going to know it's me because I'm going to be plastered all over the bloody TV and radio. Do you mind if I have a talk? Sure, let's go and sit in the rose garden. Let's go and sit in the meadow. I would like to talk to you because I lost my child, I lost my parent, and I'm having a hard time dealing with it. Or this happened to me. Can you give me some advice? That sort of thing. I'd love to do all that sort of stuff. So, and America's the only country that understood me. America's the only country that didn't think that what I was weird. And I knew that from my radio show in Chicago. When I had my radio show in Chicago, they said I broke records there. I broke a lot of firsts. I got the most listeners. People were coming down to the radio station to leave questions for me. People were saying they'd go to the Halloween festivals just to meet me. So America was hungry for what I was feeding them. And I think now, after this whole Trump administration, Elon Musk, Antichrist thing, war with Iran and blah, 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 I think that God is saying to me, they're ready for you now. If I get rid of all the dangers, can you go and help America heal from Lucifer and the Antichrist? And if he can show me that that's what he's doing, if he can show me that he is tearing Trump and Starmer and Musk and all that down, then I'll happily go and help America heal. Because I know what Americans are like, and when they love you, they will defend you to the death. And if they know I'm one of the reasons why Donald Trump has been removed and Elon Musk have been held accountable and the Epsteiners are all going to be held accountable, von der Leyen, Starmer and that, there isn't anywhere in the world I wouldn't be able to go where I wouldn't be welcome with open arms, because that's what my teacher said would happen. All the people who put me through my trial by fire, who forced me to walk the Christ path, would become the most hated people in the world, and I'd become the most loved. And she said then I'd have to have bodyguards and security because I wouldn't be able to go anywhere, because everywhere I went, people would be wanting to touch me because they'd think I was some sort of like messenger of God, like actual biblical, not my smart mouth. People say, and you're gonna, and I'm like, nah, no, I'm not. You can't tell me what to do. I only listen to God. So, yeah, been blindsided a little, but those are my rules, Lord. South Dakota or Montana, but only after you've removed the threats. And if I can save my sons, that's all I care about. I would really like my sons to see the truth so that they don't hate me anymore. I want justice, not just from Trump and that, but from Chris. What Chris did, what Rocio did, what Martin did, I want justice. I want Chris to be held accountable for everything he put me and my sons through. And then when I get that money, I'll be paying them out, especially my youngest, for what? For the trauma that Rocio inflicted upon him that day when she tried to kiss him. She's a pedophile. And Chris and Martin are sexually attracted to pedophiles. And she steals identities. She's not right in the head, that one. She's the one who needs to be locked up in a nut house. I even wondered whether she wasn't Tia Darling, Paper Doll Productions. Anyway, so I'll leave it up to you, Lord. But if that's what you're wanting, with it being Good Friday tomorrow, and my parents being Catholic, it reminds me of that dream I had where I was walking through the pyramids, and Isis and Anubis and that were down in the chambers of the pyramid, and there was a golden egg in the middle of the plinth, and there were all those drums banging. And the hieroglyphs were of like my Pict and Persian and Scottish and Māori ancestors and all that. And that voice of my man, whoever he is, Brennan Taniwha, I think I called him in the dream, was saying, do you trust me, babe? You've got this, like, just go down there, do you trust me? Just go down there, blah, blah, blah. And when I got down there was that golden egg, and Isis opened the egg, and there were oils. There was oil, like golden oil, and she rubbed the oil into my feet. And then I think I shot up like a golden light or something, and I was standing to the door of the alchemist's cavern, my store. And there were all flowers growing through the pavement and stuff, and people were clapping and cheering because it was basically opening day for my foundation. I rose up out of the pregnant belly of Papatuanuku, Mother Earth, Grandmother Earth. I'd be Mother Earth. And she was saying just to talk or sing or something, and I said, but I've been shouting as loud as I can and I'm losing my voice or something. And she said, they're ready to hear you now or something. Now you're going to help save me or something like that. So, yeah, it reminds me of that dream with the golden egg with the oil inside. My honey of Isis oil. Oh, I've just realised my pot of honey, my pot of gold, my face cream. Because when you warm it in your hands, because it's like a skin wax, but when you warm it in your hands, it turns to oil. and you can use it on the dead and dying. Remember my videos of the honey of Isis oil test trials? Alpha 2 Omega. Got it. And the golden egg as well has an Easter meaning. It's the golden egg is representative of the Virgin Mary and the resurrection of Christ and the fertility of Easter. Alpha 2 Omega. So is God saying, get ready, I'm going to America. America needs me. I'm the only one for the job. Well, I mean, okay, if he gets rid of the existential threat, I'd be more than happy to go. But if he's taking Trump down, he's got to take Starmer and von der Leyen down too, because they are the pinnacle of the Antichrist. Netanyahu's already dead, but they are the trilateral Antichrist. That's the Illuminati pyramid. And people like Bill Gates and Albanese and all that make up the triangle, but Trump, Starmer and von der Leyen are the pinpoints of the Illuminati pyramid. Except I know that it's not actually a pyramid. It's the start point to the far end of the road. It's the road you're looking at. The point of the Illuminati pyramid is actually the distance of a road, of a brick road. Which I was saying, follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road. Because that's what the pyramid, the Illuminati pyramid, it's actually a road, a path, leading you on the straight and narrow. But they chop the top off. They don't want you seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. But I understand it, or yeah. So anyway, so I'm going to go and finish my coffee. It's probably gone cold by now. And I'll speak to you later. God, I can't believe. Am I really going back to America? Well, only time will tell. I'm not saying that's definitely what it is, but I guess time will tell. Ka kite anō.